Good morning, students. I am Dr. Rajendra Prasad, botany faculty from Allied Colleges. So, last two classes we are discussing about the basics of biology, in that specifically cell biology. We are discussing, and today's class is also about the continuation of the basics of cell biology. So, in today's class, we are going to discuss about the differences between the plant cell and animal cell. So, in last class, we have discussed about the difference between the prokaryote and eukaryotic cell. So, we have seen lots of differences like the type of composition of the cell and its cellular components. So, in this class, we will compare the differences between the plant cell as well as animal cell. So, let us see the first thing about the size of the particular cell. So both plant cell as well as animal cell, both are nothing but they are the eukaryotic cells, but there are some differences between these two cells. So let us see those differences. So first of all, if you come with the size, so if you see the size of the plant cell, the size of the plant cell is larger than compared to the animal cell. So if you observe both under a microscope, you will find the plant cell is a little bit larger than compared to the size of the animal cell. So similarly, if you see the composition, so cell wall composition, if you see the cell wall composition, first of all, the plant cell, so plant cell is having the cell wall and it is thick, whereas in case of animal cell wall is absent. So last class we have discussed that cell wall is absent in case of animals. So here also same thing, cell wall is present only in plant cell, it is very thick. So what are the components of cell wall? If you see the components of cell wall, so what is the components present in the cell wall? The cell wall is majorly composed of the components like cellulose, hemicellulose and pectin. So these are the three major components present in the cell wall of the plants, and specifically cellulose. So nearly 80% of cellulose is present in the cell wall. So whatever the plant material which human consume or animal consume is rich in the cellulose. So apart from cellulose, is also having the hemicellulose as well as pectin. So then what is the function of the cell wall? So if you see the function of the cell wall, the main function of cell wall is transport of materials from one cell to another cell. Because the plant cell is a multicellular. So several cells are present and one cell is attached to the another cell. So there is a transport of materials takes place between the two plant cells by a specific junction that is called as plasmodesmata. There is one specific junction called that is plasmodesmata. So plasmodesmata, a specific point present between the two plant cells which is involved in exchange of the components, cytoplasmic components between the two plant cells. That's particular junction where cytoplasmic exchange takes place, that is called as plasmodesmata. So using this, the main function of the cell wall is transport of food materials and as well as to maintain the shape of the cell. So already I have discussed that different plant cells have different shape. Some plant cells are circular, some plant cells are oval, some plant cells are elongated, and some plant cells are disc shaped, or some plant cells are cigar shaped. Some plant cells have dumbbell shape like stomata, so they appear as a dumbbell shape. Like the different types of shapes are present. So anyhow, anyway, plant cell the cell wall is present. It is absent in case of the animal cell. So it is absent in case of the animal cell. Then what is the outer layer covering around the animal cell? The outer layer covering around the animal cell is nothing but it is a cell membrane. So instead of cell wall, we have cell membrane. So cell membrane is present. So cell membrane is outer covering. So cell membrane is outer covering in animal cell. So it is the so cell membrane is present in case of both plant cell as well as in animal cell. So this cell membrane. So if you see the composition. In last class we have discussed about the composition of the cell membrane. So we have seen that cell membrane is also made up of lipids and proteins. So both lipids and proteins. So lipids and proteins are present in case of cell membrane of plant cell as well as cell membrane of the animal cell. So if you see the cell membrane, specifically in case of the animal cell, the cell membrane is made up of lipids plus proteins. And specifically, the specific type of lipids. So the specific type of There are some specific type of lipids which are present in higher amount. Those are called as phospholipids. So in general, in multiple choice question, they ask you in the cell membrane, the type of lipids present in the cell membrane is phospholipids. So phospholipids are present. Nearly 70% of the lipids are made up of phospholipids. So cell membrane is outer covering in case of the animal cell, whereas cell wall is outer covering in case of the plant cell. And so that is about the cell wall. And let us go to the cytoplasmic components. So in the cytoplasm, what are the different types of components present inside the cell that we are going to see now? So first of all, we will discuss about the endoplasmic reticulum. So endoplasmic reticulum is the one of the cytoplasmic component, and it is present in plant cell and as well as in the animal cell. In both cases of the cells, we have endoplasmic reticulum, and this endoplasmic reticulum is of, so it is designated as E dot R. So endoplasmic reticulum, it is of two types again. It is like SER and RER. So what is the meaning of the term? SER means smooth endoplasmic reticulum, whereas RER means rough endoplasmic reticulum. So both in case of plant cell as well as in animal cell, you have endoplasmic reticulum, and it is of two types. And what is the two types? It is smooth endoplasmic reticulum as well as rough endoplasmic reticulum. So both smooth endoplasmic reticulum and rough endoplasmic reticulum, both are present in both plant cell as well as in the animal cell. So what is the functions of a smooth endoplasmic reticulum? So we have to see the function also. Now, what is the function of smooth endoplasmic reticulum? Why it is called as a smooth endoplasmic reticulum? So on the specific locations of endoplasmic reticulum, the ribosomes are absent. So ribosomes are not attached to the endoplasmic reticulum. Such type of endoplasmic reticulum is called as smooth endoplasmic reticulum. So if you see the function, so what is the purpose of smooth endoplasmic reticulum? The smooth endoplasmic reticulum is involved in the process of smooth endoplasmic reticulum is involved in the process of lipid synthesis. So here, once again I am repeating. So endoplasmic reticulum is of two types. It is smooth endoplasmic reticulum and rough endoplasmic reticulum. So this endoplasmic reticulum is present in case of both plant cell as well as in the animal cell. So what is the major function of smooth endoplasmic reticulum? The main function of smooth endoplasmic reticulum is lipid synthesis. So rough endoplasmic reticulum, there is one more endoplasmic reticulum that is called as a rough endoplasmic reticulum. So what is the function of rough endoplasmic reticulum? Before that, what is a rough endoplasmic reticulum? That specific endoplasmic reticulum is associated with another cell organelle called ribosomes. Because of that reason, it appears rougher in nature under the microscope. Because of this reason, it is named as rough endoplasmic reticulum. And the main function of rough endoplasmic reticulum is synthesis of proteins. So from this, we can conclude that endoplasmic reticulum is present in both plant cell and animal cell, and it is of two types: smooth endoplasmic reticulum and rough endoplasmic reticulum. The smooth endoplasmic reticulum is involved in lipid synthesis, whereas rough endoplasmic reticulum is involved in the process of protein synthesis. And from where endoplasmic reticulum is originated? So from where actually? So endoplasmic reticulum, this particular endoplasmic reticulum is originated from outer membrane of nucleus. So you have to remember this in multiple choice questions in NEET exams. They'll ask you where is the origin of the endoplasmic reticulum. So endoplasmic reticulum is originated from the outer membrane of nucleus. So in coming classes like in +1 and +2, you will be studying in detail about each and every cell organelle. At the time you will clearly understand. So this is all just basics. We will study only about what is endoplasmic reticulum, what is its function. So here, for multiple choice point of view, what is from where endoplasmic reticulum is originated means you have to answer it. It is originated from the outer membrane of the nucleus. So that is about the endoplasmic reticulum, the major cellular component of the eukaryotic cell. Now let us see another cellular organ, that is Golgi bodies. So since we are discussing about eukaryotic cell, between the difference between plants and animal cell, in both cases of the plant cell as well as in animal cell, Golgi bodies are present. So what is the main function of the Golgi bodies? So in last class we were discussing about Golgi bodies, same thing. The main function of Golgi bodies is so packaging of the material and as well as transport. transport. So two major functions of Golgi bodies are packaging of the material and transports, and both functions takes place in case of plant cell and as well as animal cell also. Both functions will be taking place. So we'll continue some more with other components. So let us continue with the next cellular component, that is lysosomes. So these lysosomes are absent in case of the plant cell and they are present in case of the animal cell. So they are present only in the animal cell, and inside the lysosomes, so specifically these lysosomes, inside the lysosomes we have enzymes which are called as hydrolytic enzymes. So there are some hydrolytic enzymes like carbohydrates, peptidases. So we have carbohydrates, peptidases, and we have lipases. So once again I am repeating. So in case of lysosomes, so lysosomes are absent in case of the plants and they are present only in animal cell. And the type of enzymes present in case of animal cell of the lysosomes, it is called as hydrolytic enzymes. These hydrolytic enzymes contains the digestive enzymes. So digest the materials, they digest the food materials. What are the digestive enzymes? Carbohydrates. So what are these carbohydrates? These carbohydrates, they hydrolyze the carbohydrates. That's why they are called as carbohydrates. And another enzyme that is called as peptidases. So they break down the peptides, or they break down the peptide bonds present between the amino acids. That's why they are called as peptidases. So peptidases are also part of hydrolytic enzymes. Similarly, another enzyme that is called as lipases. If you clearly see that lipase is the enzyme which is involved in the breakdown of the bond present in the lipids. So what is a lipid? Lipid is made up of glycerol plus fatty acid. So the bond present between the glycerol and the fatty acid is broken down by the enzyme that is called as lipase. And if you see the pH, the pH of the lysosomes is also very acidic pH, and it is less than 7. It is somewhere near to the 6.4 or 5 liter. So lysosomes are acidic in nature. The main function of lysosomes is involved in digestion process. So they are involved in digestion process, and further they require enzymes like carbohydrates, peptidases, and lipases. So that is about the lysosomes. Now let us go to another cellular organ that is called as mitochondria. So mitochondria is very important cell organelle. So you already know in lower classes we have studied that mitochondria is called as a powerhouses of cell because it generates energy in the form of ATP. So ATP, what is the full form of ATP? It is adenosine triphosphate. So it is called as a powerhouse of cells. So this mitochondria is present in case of both plant cell as well as in case of the animal cell. So what is the major function of mitochondria? This mitochondria main function is to produce ATP and as well as NADPH. So this is called as, these two are called as reducing power. The main function of mitochondria is to produce ATP as well as NADPH. That's why it is called as a powerhouses of cells. So it produces energy, especially in the form of ATP. So with this ATP only, so person is able to talk, person is able to walk from one location to another location, person is able to lift the weight, and all these conditions are because of the energy generated in our body. That energy generated is directly from the ATP. So ATP is the synthesis from the mitochondria, and it's present in both case of plants as well as in the particular animals. So there is some importance about this particular mitochondria. So out of all the cell organelles, the mitochondria and as the mitochondria of both plants as well as animals, it is having the double membrane. So it is having the double membrane. So it is a self, it is also called as semi-autonomous cell organelle. So mitochondria, which is present in case of plants as well as animals, it is having a double membrane. So it means it is covered by two layers. That's why it is called as a double membrane. So in detail structure of mitochondria we will study in coming classes. So for time being, you remember that it is having the double membrane, outer membrane as well as inner membrane, and it is also called a semi-autonomous cell organ. Means it has its, why it is called semi-autonomous? Autonomous means self. So it can undergo its own. So why it is called semi-autonomous organ? Because it can undergo its own DNA replication. Means this particular mitochondria has its own DNA. So it can undergo its own DNA replication. It can undergo its own transcription, and it can undergo its own translation. So what is DNA replication, what is transcription, what is translation? So you will be studying in coming classes. For time being, you remember that why mitochondria is called a semi-autonomous organelle is because it can synthesize, it can prepare its own DNA. That process is called as DNA replication. It can undergo its own transcription, it can undergo its own translation. That's what is called as semi-autonomous organelle. So it is having its own DNA. When a cell is having its own DNA, it can undergo its own functions. So like that, so mitochondria is present in both case of plant cell as well as in the animal cell. It is having a double layer membrane. It is called it is called semi-autonomous organelle because it has its own DNA replication, transcription, translation, and it has its own ribosomes also. Inside the mitochondria also we can see the ribosomes. It has its own ribosomes. So because of this reason, it is called as semi-autonomous cell organelle. Okay, so that is about the mitochondria. Now let us see about